Stephen Speak, Extra Speak. A little more of everything and nothing. Don't forget to subscribe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Extra Speak. This is episode number 9, I think. So I'm getting through these as well now. I've gone to every Wednesday just because it was getting a bit too much. I think it was too much content coming out. People have lives. They don't want to listen to me churning on constantly. So these episodes are going to be every Wednesday. I think I'm going to stay to that, so a midweek episode. Only 5 minutes or so. These aren't going to be any longer than 15 minutes, so that's what we'll try and stick to. Try and stick to some rules for this. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about London Underground. Me and Sarah recently went to London. I'm going to do another extra speak of why that was. But we used the London Underground, so Transport for London's London Underground, to get around. Brilliant system. I really like the Underground myself, apart from it being like a hot place sometimes. Like, it was a very hot day when we went down to London, which makes it not a very pleasant place to be when it's warm, because it's hot and stuffy, and especially if there's a lot of people, which there was on a couple of the journeys. But I think it's a brilliant system. It's a frequent service, and even if the service isn't so good, you can quickly bypass things and change on other platforms, get into other lines, and flip around, and yeah, brilliant. And I think personally, it's quite easy to understand the maps, like westbound, eastbound, northbound, southbound. You have to have just a basic idea, but I think the diagrams are quite easy as well, and there's loads of apps to help you navigate. But anyway, that's not really what today's short episode is about. It's about, well, people trying to force themselves onto trains. Absolute ludicrous mental bastards that they are. A train will come in, like, don't get me wrong, like, I understand people have got places to be, and, they need to, some people really do desperately need to be places. But, like, the platform, we were on the Victoria line, for example. We were going back to London Euston, and we were going to go a different way, and I thought, look, let's take the most direct way. And we went onto the Circle line, got off at Victoria, and then we're going to take the Victoria line back to Euston. I think that's what it was. You can fact check on a London Underground map if you really, really want to, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. And Victoria was mental. The train we were going to get back, like, the platform was rammed. And I just said to Sarah, listen, we'll see how the train is, see how people are getting on. And I said, but, if it's too busy, like, we're not going to force ourselves onto a train. I know it's hot down here, but it'd be worse if we're on an absolutely packed train. So the first train comes in. It literally one was coming in. We waited, like, probably 20 seconds when the train was on its way. And it was quite empty, but it pretty much filled it immediately. But the platform didn't really get that much emptier. So as soon as, like, pretty much it was like there was sporadic people standing around, and I was like, "Oh, that's all right. We'll get the next one." The platform filled up again. But what really gets me is that people force themselves onto the train, and, like, they've got, like, a sign on every platform telling you when the trains are due and where they're going to. And some lines they only go to certain destinations. Some lines do split, so you have to, like, watch what train you get onto, so that the line diverges. But generally, most places you can get on any train at any platform. Like, the next train in is probably yours, especially if you're only going a short distance. And people force themselves onto the train, and they were like trying to play sardines. And I wanted to shout down the platform, "There's a train in a minute!" Like, literally a minute, 60 seconds, and there'll be a train. And there was people jamming themselves indoors. And the mind boggles. I was down in London. I started using the Underground quite a lot when I was travelling for course. When I first joined the company I'm with now, the course was in London, and I was down there for like 9 weeks, I think it was. So I was travelling there and travelling back, and I had to use the tube, and I got quite used to it. And but they were doing it then, and I just couldn't believe the stupidity of people. Like, literally forcing themselves. You've seen them pictures of Japan where they actually pay people to push people onto trains. Well, they were literally doing that to each other, and you could tell that I didn't live in London. So I was sat there on the platform, just sat on one of the chairs, watching the idiocy. And I literally, like, the other day, I just wanted to shout at people, "There's a train in a minute. And if you miss that one, or it's full, there's one 2 minutes after that. And if that's no good, there's one a minute after that. So literally, if you wait 4 minutes, you've got 3 trains to choose from." And, but people don't, do they? And I must admit, we actually didn't. One came in and it was, like, marginally full, and we just wanted to get back to Houston because it was getting a bit unbearable on the platform. So we got on, and it actually wasn't that bad once we got on. I'd probably wait for the next one, to be honest, but I think it was rush hour, so I don't think any of them would have been particularly empty. But the first couple were absolutely rammed, and people were just throwing them, shoving themselves on it. It's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of get that off my chest. And I mean, if any of you guys have lived in London or do live in London, is there a reason for that? Like, let me know. Is there a reason why everyone's so impatient? I don't know. And although standing right on the escalators as well and watching people run past you is mental. But yeah, anyway. Thanks very much for listening. And that's been kind of a rant about the underground, really. No worries. Thanks very much. I'll speak to you soon. You've been listening to Stephen Speak, Extra Speak. Thanks for listening, and please subscribe.